Hey there YouTube, how is it going? Rock and Ormus here. I've been away for quite some time. I believe it's been a year since my last video update. Basically my whole life took track. I have moved house, got engaged, and I have a 4-month-old baby. So yeah, a lot's been happening, hence the severe lack of videos on my channel. But today I thought I'd come back at you. I've been playing Cardfight Vanguard since the day it started basically, and I figured, well, what better way to start than by doing a deck review. Today I'm going to do a deck review of my best deck that I have so far, until I finish Shadow Paladins, fun about the dragons. Today the deck I'm doing is Dark Irregulars. It's the build I choose to run, not the build everyone in society says I should run. The way I've built this deck is just because I like the way it runs. Anyway, no won't waste more time, so let's just get cracking in. First of all, starting Vanguard, Vermilion Gatekeeper. A lot of people say run greedy hand, because it's the one, it moves to soul when you ride it, you counter blast one and put a grade 2 into soul, and itself moves into soul as well. So essentially what you're doing is once you take 1 damage you counterblast 1 and you're moving itself and a grade 2 from your deck into the soul. Fair enough, you get to choose the cards into soul, but this just does the exact same thing. You ride it and it soul charges, so you're going to have 2 in soul anyway, but you're not having to give up 1 damage, which when you get to the later things where your grade 2s and 3 you're going to have to need. So I prefer this guy, plus his artwork looks pretty badass. So the trigger lineup is 4 heal triggers. I just like using the 2 of them because of the artwork. 4 stand triggers, and 8 critical triggers. Now one of the crits in stand are rather interesting, so with the camera there. The Dark Queen of Nightmare Land is really nice if you get it her turn 1 in your first attack. Basically, whenever she boosts and the attack hits, she soul charges and then goes back to deck. As for the Dark Knight of Nightmare Land, basically he's like some of the other triggers you get for other clans. Basically you call him, move him to soul and give plus 3000 to another unit. So yeah, a pretty basic trigger lineup. A lot of people say drop the stands for draw triggers, but I don't know, I feel with the way this deck runs I like the stand triggers right now, so plus I think I'll actually own 2 draw triggers. So anyway, so that's the trigger lineup then. The grade 1 lineup, basically, grade 1 you want to go into this guy, the Alluring Succubus. Basically whenever he's called to the Vanguard or Rearguard you soul charge 1, so essentially you want this turn 1, ride this around Gatekeeper, you soul charge for this, soul charge for him, instant 3 cards and soul, right off the bat, so that's him. And currently I have 3 March Rabbit and Nightmare Land, which is the perfect guard. I'm running 3 at the moment because, well, one I only have 3, hopefully get a 4th later in the week, and I'm running it 3 just to see how it runs because there's other things in the deck I'd rather keep, so yeah, there's that. Next, 2 Doreen the Thruster. I really like this card, but I don't like to play too many of it. Basically, during your main phase, whenever a card is put into your soul, if you have a Dark Regulars Vanguard, this gives plus 3000 to the end of the turn. Now essentially if you can soul charge with, say, Alluring Succubus, or if you have this in your field turn 1 and you go into Decadent Succubus, which I'll get to in a second, you could essentially put this up to 12, 15k easily. So it's kind of a nice grade 1 that can go up to like high power, but at the same time after you get past grade 2 there's not a lot of soul charges during the main phase. So yeah, so that's why I'll run 2 of that. I run 2 Yellow Bolts purely because if you get it turn 1 and you're not attacking, you can easily just call this guy in the rear guard, rest him and you soul charge. That's his effect. Yeah, you rest him, soul charge 1, there you go. So I'm going to run 2 of these guys. And finally for the grade 1 lineup I run Poet of Darkness Amon. I run 3 of them. Basically I only run 3 because I feel 4 is a bit too clogged. I mean, generally by, well, more or less my second turn this guy hits 9k. His effect is once you have 6 or more in soul during your turn he gains 3000. So yeah, it's kind of nice having a 9k one back row, so that's that. Anyway, grade 2, as I mentioned earlier on, I run 4 Decadent Succubus. Basically when this is your Vanguard only, anytime a Dark Regulars is called you soul charge 1, so essentially you could just drop your entire hand, like you go grade 2, you know, call, so you're going to soul charge 5, which would give you, or if you have Doreen the Thruster, then you like call, Doreen the Thruster would then gain 12,000, making her 18 as a grade 1. Very rarely is that going to happen, but at the same time, it is kind of a nice card. Next, one of the coolest artworks for any card I've seen is Emblem Master. This guy is amazing. He looks like the illegitimate love child of Sephiroth and Reiji, if any of you watch the anime. Basically, his effect is when the attack hits a Vanguard, when he's in Vanguard or Rearguard, you counterblast 1 and soul charge 3. This guy is your main soul charge guy. Generally, what you really want is a good grade 2 Vanguard and these 2 at the Rearguard. 9 times out of 10 they will be guarded in these attacks, so there's no way they're going to let you soul charge 3 for only counterblasting 1. So yeah, 4 of him. Next up, 2 Werewolf Seeger, your 10k vanilla, but it's standard, and Demon of Aspiration I'm on. He's much similar to the grade 1 version, where basically if you have 6 or more soul he gains 3,000. Exactly the same, except also this is the grade 2, so he goes to 11k, your other one goes to 9. So as I have seen before, I've had these 2 guys in my rear guard, the grade 1 poet and the blackguard, so I've got 2 20k guys every turn plus my vanguard, which can sometimes get up to like 30, 40, 50k. So that's grade 2 lineup. My grade 3 lineup, as you'll see, is kind of weird. I run 2 Bladewing Reijis, mainly because I find, although having 15 in soul and he gains, basically his effect is, if you get 15 or more Darker Eggs in soul, he gains +2 crit. Basically he means he's doing 3 damage if you get 15 in soul. And when he's placed in the Vanguard, you choose one of your Darker Irregulars that's in your rear guard, and you can select up to 3 copies of that and put it into your soul. Generally you run this with the Demon Bike thing, which gains 2,000 for each copy of itself. I currently don't have 4, otherwise I would run it. So, because basically he's like, gains 2k, so if you get 3 in soul, then you've got a guy that's 12k. If you get 2 out and 2 in soul, then that means you get 2 guys that are 10k at grade 1. So I only run 2 of these because I find that generally people just kind of perfect guard this guy. As much as, you know, 3 damage is kind of nice, he doesn't get any other kind of useful effects or power boosts, so I only run 2 of him. Next I run 2 Steel Vampire. I really like the artwork in this guy, and I really like his effect. Basically, like most grade 3s around, beginning your main phase, you soul charge 1. His effect, the other effect is to soul blast 8 and counter blast 5. You choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and it then becomes their vanguard. Generally for most things you're going to go from like 11 or 10k to like a 7 or 8k, with the exception of Pale Moon. With Pale Moon swapping stuff in and out of the soul, I have seen it where I've used this guy's effect to switch an 11k, a 10k vanguard to a 4k vanguard, which is really good because that means they can only then guard with like a grade 0, because whatever card you make becomes their vanguard is then their vanguard. So like if you put a grade 0 into the vanguard, it's not like, oh but my grade 3 will come back, so you just guard with anything, they have to guard with a grade 0, which is really nice. But so yeah, Tuesday Vampire. And then the big boss monster of the deck, I run 3 Dark Lord of the Abyss. By far this is the boss monster of the deck. I find 9 times out of 10 if I have him turn 1, I never play anything in the rear guard behind the vanguard, because with him you don't need it. His effect is basically, if you have a non-Dark Regulars vanguard rear guard, he loses power, but never going to happen. Basically he's got a limit break of 4, so you run 4 damage, you counter blast 2 and you soul charge 2. And he gains 1,000 for each card in the soul. So say you're on 8 cards in soul, use his ability counter blast 2, soul charge 2, you're then up to 10 in soul, so he would then go to 21. You could use the effect again because it stacks, counter blast 2, soul charge 2, then up to 12 in soul. Now he's already at 21, so he would gain the 12, making him 33. This guy is kind of like the boss monster of the deck. You basically just ran this guy home. Only works in the vanguard though. If it was a rear guard, he'd be busted as hell and I'd be running 4 of them. But, so yeah, run 3 of him. Contemplating switching it around and playing 4 of this and 3 Reiji, but I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do yet, so that's my build now anyway. So yeah, thanks very much guys. This is my Dark Irregulars build. If any of you have any ideas or suggestions, please don't feel afraid to comment or anything like that. So yeah, this is my return to the YouTube planet. So thanks very much for watching guys, and I'll be back with some more videos later on. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.